I hit the button, but nothing was happening.
Now the button's
The
there.
button works. You know, I had to get all charged up for the second half of the year. It's Wednesday, July 2nd. It's the Automotive State of the Union. I'm Paul J. Daly. It's Kyle Mounts here. We're talking about Senate passes budget. We're talking about Hyundai's kind of like defying the Senate budget thing.
That's a good way of
It
putting
feels
that.
like that. It feels very defiant.
And Cloudflare being defiant too.
Cloudflare is going to stir up some trouble.
They are. There's some people that have some feelings.
Our kind of people.
Yeah.
Listen, yesterday was an awesome day. First day of the second half of the year.
Today, it was a great day.
Seems like it's going to be an even better day. I feel that way. Probably weather.
There's just so much happening. I know.
Sometimes a weird time in the industry because depending on what region you're in, like the sales do different things. Because I mean, school's out, but summer season is
July and August are always good. I mean, that as long as I've been in the business, it's like rock and roll.
There's a lot of vacations too. Like you think about it, a lot of people are traveling. Like even talking
what's
about
interesting about
managers, owners.
There are a lot of vacations internally for a team. I'm just going to theorize about this. I think that this activity breeds activity thing is so. I talk about it so often that like when you're active things happen around you.
Yeah.
That like if you lose a couple people on the team for a week, it's almost like everybody else has to raise the bar, and all of a sudden all the customers feel it, and there's a high energy and there's pace and movement, and like don't get upset when you got to work a couple extra hours. Because
if you have the right culture, that really does, like when you start to lean out a little bit, you get to see everyone step up, and that camaraderie around stepping up does really perpetuate itself throughout. I like that. That's good good theorizing.
Look at that
really good
theoreticaling. We're
gonna do some theoreticaling and some practical eticaling on July 9th on our next Soto Edge webinar, as we're talking about smart customer transportation management with Stephen Chapman of Uber for Business. You can go to asoto.com. You can sign up right there. You know how it works. You can be with us live, or you can get the recording. Talk about maybe open up some new solutions for moving people around when they're waiting in the service lane, or they need to get their car, or they're trying to buy a car and they need to go somewhere. We're gonna talk about all that stuff. So you should be there.
You should be there.
You should. Let's talk about some news, huh?
Let's get into the news. Let's do it.
Finally, we have some finality on something that's been kicking back and forth. The Senate passed a budget bill yesterday by a razor-thin 51-50 vote, with Vice President JD Vance breaking the tie. The bill, which moves to the House next, packs major implications for automakers and dealers alike. As we covered yesterday, the current version would kill EV tax credits by September 30th, 2025. So they did not take any of our advice. Cafe penalties for fuel economy non-compliance would be eliminated, gutting enforcement on all those standards. Car loan interest up to $10,000 a year could be deducted from your taxes for certain U.S.-built vehicle purchases between 2025 and 2028. An earlier AI regulation ban, which might have restricted state autonomous vehicle laws, was cut from the bill completely. And the Electrification Coalition, they're going to end the EV credits. Actually, what is this?
It's
Electrification Coalition. Oh, the colon messed me up. They said ending EV credits would cede control over the future of transportation to China. That's ominous.
That's a strong one. I think that there is some legitimacy to that. Even if it's just, hey, the pace of EV sales in the US isn't enough to keep up with the rest of the world. So the Chinese kind of take that as an even more of a leader spot than currently. The interesting one here is the car loan interest on vehicles made in the US. I believe that's final manufacturing spot in the US. So there's still a lot of non-big three that get involved in that. The chances of this thing making it past the House when it's not bipartisan agreement in the Senate, where it's a 51-50 vote and JD Vance had to break the tie, are slim to none. However, crazier things have happened. We'll see if that happens.
What's the over under in the House? How many seats do the Republicans have?
But it's not 50-50 in the Senate either, which means that it's not
Like, is it 60-40? Yeah, we don't know. We don't know these things.
Which means there were Republicans and Democrats on both sides of this thing. It was So not bipartisan support. Interesting. Probably not going to get past the House as kind of like the larger body of people get their hands on it. Probably going to get ping pong back and forth. So I wouldn't.
All that means is that we don't know what's happening with the EV tax credit still.
Yeah, I would just say don't get too excited, but yeah, I mean, the fact that it passed one side is definitely concerning for the pace at which, Capitol Hill is thinking about implementing some of this stuff.
Yeah, Mike Stanton said this when we were with him a little bit ago, and it's been his constant drum, the voice of the dealer saying, like, listen, dealers have like a lot of vehicles, EVs on their lots. So we need a reasonable amount of time to end this credit so that we can actually, get the inventory that we made decisions on based on the credit. Yep. We can actually get rid of that inventory, and then we can make new pricing decisions, new acquisition decisions based on the landscape. And 90 days just isn't enough. It's actually less than 90 days right now. And when the bill passes, it's going to be even less than 90 days. So, or if it passes or whatever. So I think that's, the thing every dealer's keeping their eye on. That's really the point of relevance, not all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Hyundai on the other hand.
Hyundai
on the other hand.
Segue.
Time. They just posted their best ever U.S. sales performance in the first half of a year, powered by strong EV momentum and a major new plant in Georgia. The automaker says this is only the beginning. They sold 439,280 vehicles in the first half of this year, 10% increase year over year, the most since 1986 when it made its U.S. debut. Q2 and June overall set new records with 235,000 vehicles. That's up 10%, and 70,000 vehicles just in June alone, which is up 3%. When a lot of people were down in June, the Ioniq 5 remains a top EV performer with almost 19,092 units sold. Ioniq 9 sold over 1,000 units. The new Meta plant, they're called
the Meta plant.
That's in Georgia. Get this, it can build 300,000 vehicles per year, expandable to 500,000 with both the Ioniq 5 and the new Ioniq 9 rolling off that line. Leases as low as, drumroll please, $179 per month and free home chargers. Hyundai says, CEO Randy Parker says they are, quote, building momentum with every mile. They are just on a tear.
And Randy's playing the brand play like perfectly, especially within retail auto and the events that he's talking at, in the way that he's communicating to dealers and industry partners. I think that the vehicles look great. Their technology's great. They're incentivizing them in the correct way. You've got the U.S. manufacturing piece locked down. They were early on that, a few years back, already negotiating that and then building that plant over the last few years to get it live and active. Ability to scale up to 500,000 units. This is the brand to watch. I would call this like the new Toyota. They are coming for it.
They're playing the game, I feel like, with these with the entry level and not entry level EVs so well by offering additional incentives on lease deals and home charging. That's how you actually move through some inventory. Right? Yep. You got 90 days. They're like, cool, we'll roll all that $7,500 into this lease. We'll discount it further. We'll give you home charging, and we'll give you a sub $200 a month way to buy a car. Kyle, I can't tell you how many people I suggest this lease to when they're like, they call me and they're like, I got 15 grand.
Yeah.
Am I screwed, right, for a car? And I'm like, no, actually. Do you like driving new cars? They're like, yeah. I'm like, you should lease it.
Have you seen the inside of these Ioniq 9s?
I have.
It's unbelievable.
And then I literally do the math for them. And like, I'm like, look, okay, $15,000. Say you buy this car. Say you need this many repairs over the next 36 months. You're going to put this much into it. And now look at this lease. It's $179 a month, 0 repairs, all this certainty. And you spend like $5,000 less to drive the new car. They're like, yeah, but I don't own it. I'm like, that $15,000 car is going to be on its last leg in 3 years.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. A $15,000 car these days, get out.
It's hard to make that argument, but people, and then the EV thing too. I'm like, well, what do you drive? I really don't drive a lot. Like,
we're bullish on these guys. We're bullish on them.
It's just such a value, like regardless, such a value.
So good.
I know.
So good.
I don't know how to segue into this next story.
I don't know either. But
Speaking of having to explain things to people.
Segue.
Time. Nerd alert. Nerd alert.
Cloudflare is positioning to be the premier AI gatekeeper by blocking AI bots by default for new websites and launching a paywall-style marketplace for AI crawlers.
All right, stop. Before you go any further, explain to the people what Cloudflare is.
So Cloudflare, like their primary business strategy is to be a web application firewall. So they are responsible for not letting in visitors to sites that you don't want. They have expanded infinitely past that. They can be a domain registrar. They can deploy code. They can do so much across so many websites. There's ability to inject in real time data into a website. Because
so let me break it down a little further. You have a website.
Yeah.
And instead of going to the server that is your website host, you're like, actually, I want, when someone types in my URL, I want it to go to Cloudflare first.
That's right.
And then Cloudflare does all this beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, right? And then pops it up on your screen.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, there you go. I had to really bring it down.
So what it allows them to do is kind of be the first line of defense on everything, right? And also the first line of like code quality, what gets delivered to the web browser, all that. So they're going to automatically block AI bots unless given explicit permission. So you have to go in and actually give it permission for the AI bots, which they've got a massive domain database that they are constantly expanding on, blocking these things. And then they're going to allow publishers to give like the domain access
to the data, right?
To pay, for them to pay so that they can get access to scraping these sites. Condé Nast, Time, The Atlantic are on board after seeing steep traffic drops from AI generated answers. So basically they're like, hey, look, we're not going to be able to get these people to the site because you're scraping my site and then providing the AI answers. Let me at least monetize the data that I have on my site.
Yeah, the work that I did to put it together.
Check this out. OpenAI bots reportedly scrape 1,700 times per referral, right? While Anthropic scrapes 73,000 to 1. Google is only 14 per referral. So
now, what do you mean per referral?
So basically, like if they're going to refer you to the site, so like the click. Yeah. So basically 17,000 to 1. For every one time, they're scraping you 17,000 times.
For every one time they send somebody to your site.
Yeah. For every one they're getting them to the site, 73,000 times they're scraping it so they can get the data and provide that to the users. One analyst said this could split the internet, literally providing a potential divide between premium and freely scraped content. Here's Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince. He said, people trust the AI more over the last 6 months, which means they're not reading original content. This, just like as a note, this right here is crucial to Cloudflare's overall business strategy, because if people move away from developing on their platform for the web because their websites are no longer as relevant and they're just data repositories, it could be dangerous to their business. So it actually provides like business protection for them and for their clients over time. Yeah.
I was thinking about what this does to the idea. I mean, we've been telling people, right? If you're a brand and you need to show up in the generative search results, right? Someone types in AI, you want to show up there, right? And that only happens by you putting good, easy to understand, quickly processable data on your site so that you are included. Flip side is, do you think that these, AI companies are going to prioritize free content? Yes,
absolutely.
And so it's like,
because they're all paywalled already.
What's the balance between not showing up and having such quality content that the AI knows they need? Right. This is the very interesting capitalistic entrepreneurial thing that's going on right now.
The fastest, most content-rich websites right now are getting prioritized by these AI bots because the crawl budgets are much lower. So the more you have that, the more potentially monetizing your content will be important.
Yeah. I mean, we did a deep research paper, you and I, earlier this week, and it was about EVs and China and macroeconomics and energy and all these things. And there's a long list of things cited in there, but it didn't know, we didn't tell it to, and it didn't, but it cited some ASOTU work in there, which is like, oh yeah, maybe.
But on LinkedIn.
Right? Yeah. It's crazy. What a weird world.
What a wild world.
But I mean, like this ties back down. Like, when are people going to shop for cars on these tools. They already are. So how do we make it so that you show up as a preferred partner? Just do it. Like go on ChatGPT or go on Claude and just say, I'm looking for this type of car. And then I live in this area. Where should I buy it and why? Ask it that and see if you pop up and see what it says about you. And then suggest your own store. How about Kyle Mount Sear?
And see if it gets enough
Mazda.
data.
You couldn't do that anyway, but Mount Sear Mazda, that actually is a ring to it.
It does have a ring to it. I've thought about it before. We'll see.
Yeah, once or twice. Hey, we're only in like the third inning, man.
Come on.
Like our seventh inning is going to involve stores and fun, whatever. It's July 2nd. It's nice out. People are out buying. They're doing the summer thing. Go do the summer thing too. And take care of them. We'll see you tomorrow.